Women of Reddit, what's the dumbest thing a man has ever asked you? Can't you just hold it in? My ex, talking about my period. He deadass thought I could hold it in. Dude was 26. When I was passing a kidney stone and peeing blood, my male doctor told me it was my period and insisted that I just didn't know the difference. Amazing who they let through medical school. Had a similar thing happen. Dude was pissed because I got my period while we were having a weekend away. He thought I did it on purpose to avoid having sex with him. He was 33, he should definitely have known better than that. My husband, in his 40s, just learned a couple months ago that tampons are used internally. He had believed that they were used externally. I was sort of flabbergasted and asked how he thought they worked. He thought it just sat between the labia, like a hot dog in a bun. I guess he thinks labia have muscles that can just clamp onto things like a claw machine. Can you imagine if that were the case? He comes from a medical family and his first major in college was engineering. I guess we can all be glad he changed it. He thought it was absolutely disgusting that women tried on bras before purchasing. Why? Because we would leak all over them. Mid-20s and he thought women were just constantly lactating. I went to the doctors because something was coming out of my boob. A doctor looked at me and said, "Congratulations, you're a woman." I requested a female doctor and he refused. When I was getting blood drawn, he sent me with a form that asked for B12 testing, basically just to get me out of his office and to say he looked into it. I explained to the nurse what was happening and asked if there was a female doctor on staff. She went to get her, she shook her head, said "Oh, this asshole again," tore up the request form and brought me to another room to do a proper exam. I kid you not, was on a date and a guy asked, "So, how long have you been Asian for?" My whole fucking life? Why are you so insecure?" He wanted me to leave the house for a week to stay at my mom's so he could have his ex visit and stay with him alone, just the two of them. Shockingly, I didn't find that idea as fun as he did. A guy once asked me if my hair was naturally pink. I was face-palming for at least 20 minutes after he asked. A man slid in my DMs and asked if I could rate his cock even though he's married. He wanted an honest opinion. I was like, shouldn't you ask the woman who's using it? You sure you're not 18? I was 16. Dude was 40. Yeah, but I'm pretty sure, but I can scan my pea-sized woman brain again and make sure. Context: I'm dark-skinned Indian and I was sitting down to eat a burger and some guy said you can eat that. It's against your religion. I'm Catholic. Also asked me what religion are you? While we were in Sunday school. I have two things that come to my mind. 1. Anytime a guy has literally thrust his penis into me a few times with minimal foreplay or effort to connect to me and then said, "Have you come yet?" 2. Told my ex-boyfriend I was starting my period and had cramps. He said, "How can you be starting your period? You just had one a few months ago, did you not? Does it really hurt that bad?" I was in labor and induced with Pitocin, so my contractions were god-awful. This came from my husband who I love dearly, but I swear he has a loose screw up there sometimes. This is dumb but also cute, because it was said by my little brother when he was around 13 or SMT. He gently grabbed a lock of my hair and squeezed it very hard. Like, his whole face was turning red because he squeezed so hard. Then he asked, "Does it hurt when you squeeze your hair?" He looked very concerned. Had to explain him that hair is basically keratin with no nerves, so no, squeezing doesn't hurt, haha. Why are you making me do all this women's work? Had a kidney infection and was peeing blood. Male doctor asked if I was sure it wasn't my period. Realize that means somebody gave this person a passing grade in anatomy. Sigh. I decided to try out some dating apps freshman year of college. I put that I was asexual in my bio and a guy messaged me asking, "By asexual do you mean a sexual beast in bed?" Smirking face. One of my former supervisors once asked me why I took 20 minutes in the toilet and what was I even doing in there. It was the day my period started. Then he told me I was being inappropriate when I told him exactly what I was doing in there. Why not? After I told him I don't enjoy talking to him, and not to talk to me again. For context, he has been harassing me at work for months now. And the first time was in the form of following me out to my car after I told him I did not want him to walk me out, said more than once. I am 100% sure there was something worse, but this was just today, so it was fresh on my mind. I told a guy that I have schizophrenia and he was like, "Which hole does it come out of?" And I was like, "Huh?" Then he got embarrassed and was like, "Forget I said anything," and I still have no idea what he meant. How do you not just grab and play with your boobs all day? A guy complimented my glasses. He should have stopped there. He told me I looked like a sexy librarian, then asked, "Do you read?" Worst pickup line ever. I worked for a lawyer, I had been working for him for almost a year at this point. He was slimy and we all knew he was trying to hook up with everyone, but also a massive dumbass. I was really dressed up one day because I had plans after work. He walked past my office, did a double take, stopped, and walked backwards back into my office. He was about to hit on me, must have realized it would be harassment, and I swear I could literally see the gears in his head turning as it came out of his mouth. So hey, you look like a notary. Are you a notary or do you just look like one? Woozy face. Dude, you hired me, you know damn well I'm not a notary. But the guys I eventually did date all loved this story, so at least I got that out of the experience. A guy I knew was shocked that women couldn't just lactate on demand. I asked him how he thinks cows lactate. He thought they naturally produce milk, always. This was something I said. My girlfriend was talking about a wedding she was going to be in and all that came with it. My brain seized and I asked, could I be your maid of honor? Joke is on her because I'm now her husband. I was not the maid of honor at the wedding. I, 55F, am going through menopause. I was talking about it with a guy I was seeing, explaining the symptoms. He said I thought it was all in your heads. Referring to all women, apparently. I burst out laughing. I still laugh about it now, 2 years later. A more innocent one but a guy I was friends with, a bit younger, phoned to tell me he watched Titanic for the first time and, did I know this was a true story? Bless him lol. When I was in high school, a kid asked me if he could get an STD from sticking his penis in a woman's ear. We were 16, I was 13, at a public pool, in a one-piece swimsuit, and a man old enough to be my father pointed at my chest and loudly asked if those were real, because they were huge. He told me women don't/can't orgasm. Wouldn't accept that he was wrong. It's not like pregnancy is even that bad. You carry it for 9 months, and then it hurts a bit when you're giving birth, then it's fine. And it's even easier for women who have C-sections. I promise, being kicked in the balls is worse. This was said by a co-worker while I was doubled over with Braxton Hicks, and third trimester contractions. Yeah, pregnancy is just a walk in the goddamn park. Never mind the fact that there's a ligament that holds our uterus in place, that feels like literal shards of glass and razor blades while being stretched as the baby grows. Razor blades. All day every day. With every step I take. Throughout this entire pregnancy. It's called round ligament pain, and men would drop like a sack of potatoes if they felt it for even a second, let alone all day every day. Literally every single thing either causes pain, or is exhausting as fuck. Men who say dumb shit about pregnancy, and then follow it up with something about their stupid fucking balls. God, I hate every single one of them. Can't you just play with yourself on camera and let me watch? This in response to asking if he wanted to get together and do the real thing. I had to explain to my 60-something-year-old father, who has been married and has 3 daughters, that lady parts are always, to some extent, moist. He was under the impression that they were dry all the time, and only got moist when someone was turned on. When I was 16 years old, a guy asked me if my lip piercing was for blowjobs. It was an upper lip piercing, a Monroe/Madonna piercing, and again, I was literally 16. The fact he managed to sexualize an upper lip piercing and come to the conclusion that it must have been specifically for male pleasure is insane. Some men can be so genuinely deluded about women. We went into Elta and he looks at the other women in there and asks me, do the different unnatural hair colors tell people what kind of STD they have/had? Wait, you bleed for more than a day? This was my ex-BF lol. We had a very awkward conversation about menstrual cycles after he asked that. I told him I was a lesbian, and he asked where in Lesbia I was from. My sweet husband, 31M, thought we attach menstrual pads directly to our vaginas until a few months ago. I had breast cancer when my daughter was 14. My ex-husband, her stepfather, said at least if I died I'd be leaving a teenager behind rather than a small child. One of the many reasons we're not married anymore. Are you still going to be as emotionally available as you have been? After he explained that he would never officially date me or call me his girlfriend, 3 days into labor, contractions 90 seconds apart the whole time. I'm really tired, can we sleep tonight? Sure bud. Let me hit pause on this labor thing so we can sleep. Silly me, I should have done that 2 nights ago. I love him and he's great. He was just too sleepy for his brain to be clicking on all cylinders. Was 14 weeks pregnant when I woke up in a puddle of blood. By the time I got to the ER, I had bled completely through a very thick pad, my pants and all over the towel I was sitting on. There was literally a trail of blood from my car to the check-in counter. They got me in right away and I was passing huge blood clots the size of apples. The bleeding continued to just pull out. The ER doctor comes in, sees the puddle of blood that I'm laying in and says, "Would you say you have lost more blood than you would regularly lose on your period?" Everyone in the room, me, my husband, and two female nurses, looked at him like he was a complete idiot. Korean and Japanese are pretty much the same culture-wise, right? No they're not. Who told you that? Me. My intuition is pretty good. Sips beer. No it's not. I'd say do the opposite of what your intuition tells you from now on. Oh okay, so I won't try to fuck you then. See? You're getting it now. Walks away. My last ex who cheated on me repeatedly for a year with several women texted me a few months after I'd broken up with him to apologize to me. I was like, lol fuck off buddy, apology not accepted. To which he replied, why can't you just forgive me and stop living in the past? He genuinely thought being really pissed that he abused me was living in the past and not being able to get over things. I had someone ask me if I was sure that I was dating my boyfriend after he asked me to grab a drink with him. Mind you, 1. I was at work and this dusty-ass man asked me this while I was helping him. 2. I was dating my boyfriend for 3 years at this time so yeah I'm pretty positive I'm dating him lol. This is more funny than horrifying but I was complaining to my friend about how nail polish smudged within hours of applying to my fingers but nail polish on my toenails could survive a nuclear apocalypse and he said, why don't you just use toenail polish on your fingers then? I had a friend ask me if it was that time of year. I was like what? Apparently he thought women only get their period 3 to 4 times a year, like it's a seasonal thing. One guy I was dating asked me why I refused to send nude photos. I told him because I'm not comfortable and I would rather get to know someone first instead of jumping into something intimate like that. His response was that getting to know each other before sex is a middle school thing and is immature. Didn't know where the lemon juice was at the store. I said I'm pretty sure we can find it and if we couldn't, we could ask an employee who didn't look super busy. He called his mom on his cell phone to ask her where she thought it might be. Said it's no big deal, she will know for sure. He was 28. One time I was getting ready in the same room as my ex, I was clipping in some extensions while I was doing my hair and he asked me how long it took me to make them. He genuinely thought all hair extensions were made with hair that's fallen out or cut off. I'd be too scared to have sex with pregnant women because I'd be scared I would finish on the unborn baby's head and it would just float around with the baby. That's not how this works. That's not how any of this works. Talking about his pal, who had to cancel on the Super Bowl watch party, because his pregnant wife was bleeding. I think she's doing it on purpose to keep him at home with her. You can do that, right, just make it bleed when you want to? No, I said, otherwise why would women need abortions if they could magically cause it? My co-worker asked me if I could assist him in making a cast and mold of his erect penis platonically. I don't think there's a platonic way to do something like that. I respectfully declined and laughed about it with my BF later that night. Some context, I'm just slightly under the average US height, but I'm blessed with wide hips and a booty from my mom. Back when I was still dating around, right after a hookup with this guy he turned to me and was admiring my body. It was sweet until this MF says, can you imagine if you had tits too? Needless to say I broke things off so quickly after that. It's been several years and that question still rings in my ears whenever I'm feeling insecure. Anyway, I'm with someone who truly appreciates my body now haha so yeah. That was really the dumbest I can think of right now. When my daughter was still learning to eat solids, we were avoiding seafood. We were at a restaurant and my wife suggested something off the menu for our daughter. I read the description and saw scallions. Scallions, aren't we avoiding seafood? The look she gave me. I still feel stupid when I think about it. Can't you just hold it in while we do some stuff? No sir I cannot. I refuse to have sex with you. I don't need the embarrassment of bleeding all over you.